believe entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey. My journey is proof of that. We are always evolving and changing, and no one is getting out of here alive. Why waste it and be complacent with something that's just not working and not serving you? Your paycheck is not your identity. It's not a reflection of what you are worth as a human being. And so you can live without the paycheck and live a very abundant, happy life, regardless of how much money you make.
Each week, I'm joined by my co-host, Claudia Cuevas, licensed marriage and family therapist, as we explore the stories, lessons, and emotional realities behind transformation. Because reinvention isn't just about changing our circumstances. It's about understanding yourself. It's about healing. It's about letting go of who you thought you had to be so you can become who you were always meant to be. So take a breath, pull up a chair, and join us at the table. This is Elevate Within. Hello and welcome back to Elevate Within. I'm your host, Sandy Davis.
And I'm your co-host, Claudia J. Cuevas.
This week, we sat down with Deb Boulanger, CEO of Life After Corporate, for a powerful conversation about what happens when the life you spent decades building no longer fits who you're becoming. Deb shared her journey from corporate executive to entrepreneur, the identity crisis that can come when the titles and the paychecks disappear, the role self-worth plays in pricing and entrepreneurship, and how burnout, divorce, and a silent meditation retreat became a catalyst for the reinvention. Today, Claudia and I are going to go deeper in some of the emotional and psychological themes from Deb's story. So let's get into it. Claudia, what stood out to you about Deb's story?
I mean, it was amazing, right? So again, to our listeners, I want to say this every time. Please pause, go listen to the episode, come back, as we're really going to kind of dig into some of the things. I think what really stood out to me was hearing how much Deb, her confidence, her identity became intertwined with her career. She talked about like finding validation through achievement. And I think that a lot of high performance women will relate to that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Psychologically, for me, therapeutically thinking, what stood out was just how her career became her more than just her job, right? It's a place where she found certainty, approval, a sense of who she was. And so that becomes really, common when it comes to high achievers. And we also have to be really careful that we are distinguishing between having self-worth and earning self-worth, right? Because those two things are really different.
How so?
When our performance and when our self-worth it's transactional, right? Mm-hmm. The more I do, the more I earn, the more I'm able to sign a contract, the more that becomes who I am. And so one of the things that becomes really interesting is that it almost becomes like a little bit addictive, right? And so you end up having, I want more of that because I don't know who I am if I'm not creating, closing a deal, making, more dollar signs. That becomes very apparent that I only have self-worth with other people validating. I think Deb talked about when she was saying, that comes from my childhood. She had a really strict, critical father. And so we have to now look at, was that part of my upbringing? Like from what type of system, right? If we look at from a family systems kind of point of view, therapeutically, like where did I get my validation when I was forming who I was? And so that might resonate really, really
Absolutely.
high achieving women, right?
My eyes got big. I was like, yep.
Performance, right? So some of us learned maybe from our parents if, my dad really likes it when I, do something, when I perform a song, when I'm able to like eat all my food, I get a lot of like, good job, like, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or if we didn't get it from our parents because we had a different kind of situation at home, maybe we got it at school. And so I learned very quickly, if I'm, not me, but like, if I'm teacher's pet, right, I get the extra sticker, or I get a lot of attention from the teacher because I get to like erase the board, and I get to sit in front. And so everything I wasn't getting at home, I'm getting at school now. And so I learned very quickly that who I am is based on what I'm able to do for others and how
Right.
much I'm able to achieve, right? And it's very easy at school because that is, there's a
foundation
token,
in a way.
there's a token economy kind of situation where like there's a star on the board, there's, you get a little like, a little sticker, you earn certain things. I'm like, it's one of the ways that you earn validation and achievement. And so imagine finding out by the age you're 6 or 7, I am really good at this. And so you don't learn that you don't always have to perform, that people can like you in spite of what you're able to give them or bring them or achieve, right? And so when we hit the burnout age, what are we left with? If I'm no longer hitting that 6 figures, and if I'm no longer signing those contracts, it becomes a really big identity crisis that we go through.
You're right. How do we get out of it?
Or we then go and make our own business and then just keep on doing the things that we're doing.
Right.
And so I think a past episode, we talked about like, we have to become really honest with ourselves. We really need to take some time to analyze, like, am I only looking at what I'm able to do? Is that where my self-worth is?
Right.
Who am I? There's nothing wrong with loving your career. Nothing. You should love what you're doing. The concern is when the career becomes the only place you experience value.
Like a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done that for a period of time.
Yeah, because that is where your success.
Yep.
You have so much
flourish.
success. That's where you flourish. Those are all your strengths.
Yep.
Right. And so sometimes the art of doing nothing is also doing and becoming comfortable with, self-care. Right. And not it becoming then, I'm going to lose this much. I'm going to hit my 10,000 steps. I'm like, because we'll do that.
Yeah.
With anything. Right. So I often ask people or encourage them to ask themselves, right? Who am I beyond what I produce? Just a little journal prompt, right? To ask yourself, who am I beyond what I produce? That's a really hard question, right? And so a lot of people will maybe go blank.
I did.
Right? It's a tough question. When we've been structured and we've found success and confidence and validation on, you've done it. You know, right? You've been in that of like, that's the first thing. That's our first resume. Like me too, right? I find myself sometimes telling people like, I have 2 degrees, 3 degrees. I have a master's. I have a specialization in this, and I have training and right for validation.
Yeah.
I want to be able to be taken serious, and I want people to know that I'm accomplished.
Yep. Especially, for women transitioning out of corporate America. One of the I keep coming back to these conversations with women, and I let them know, hey, when you start your new business, you have to be mindful to shed the conditions and the behaviors and the drive when you were in corporate America.
Yep.
Because for a lot of women, when they leave that and go into entrepreneurship, the first thing here is like, oh, I went from working like 50 hours a week to like 80 hours a week. And, I'm burning myself out, but this is my thing and I feel good, but then I'm overloaded. So it's all of that. What do you say to those women, and what should we be cognizant of to shed in
Mm-hmm.
order to become a healthier and successful entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. It really becomes about finding your purpose, right? Or finding your why.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to be beyond your resume.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, I'm going to encourage women who are listening to sit down with themselves and really look at what their purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it might be about finding community, right? Finding not what my purpose is, but what purpose is for me on a daily basis. Okay, what's my why today? And I think that that's really hard because coming from, this corporate kind of mindset, there's, you're looking at 3 years,
Right.
right? Not, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 from 2009 now, 2029 now, right? Because that's just the mindset. And so I wonder what it would look like to have an exercise where you sit down with yourself and first of all practice gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And gratitude will be like, what am I grateful for today? That's a really hard question because we tend to look at things at a macro level, not micro.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's today, right? So today I'm grateful that I woke up. I'm grateful that I have something to eat. I'm grateful that I'm able to take a walk. I'm
Right.
grateful that the sun came out. I'm grateful that I live in California. I'm grateful that I live in California, right?
Right.
Those kind of things, right? Because we want to help our brain shift from the logical brain to the emotional brain. And that's a really hard exercise to do.
Yes, because I'm even thinking about it in myself, like, putting a to-do down, like, yes, although I have learned to recognize what I call the small wins or also the
Mm-hmm.
gratitudes.
Mm-hmm.
And that has helped with making sure I don't spiral.
Mm-hmm.
What I sometimes struggle with in my business is like, hey, I can't think how I used to think when I was in corporate America. Because, like you said, we're already thinking 3 years ahead.
Yep.
And in corporate America, it's like, we're thinking quarterly, we're thinking about trends, we're thinking about the market and how do we maneuver and shift. We know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it can translate over into our business. But because it's ours and because we're close to it, it's hard to then make sure we know who we are, our
Mm-hmm.
identity. But the practice of
Mm-hmm.
not just journaling, but scheduling that in, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that we're level-headed
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing when we're just kind of spiraling out or losing ourselves or going back to the old conditions.
Yeah, journaling is is hard, right? Meditation is really hard, especially for someone who thinks more with their logical brain, because we can't shut it off.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the expectation is that you do shut it off. And so I like to recommend, especially for like my type A kind of clients who are very good at task oriented, but they're in the burnout, they're in the messy middle, and they're feeling like that just is another task that I have to put on to my to-do list. And so we don't want it to become like, I'm just checking this off. And so, a lot
Yeah.
of times it's like, well, get yourself a notebook and put an affirmation or prompt yourself a question and ask it. And that blank page feels like you're having to write like a thesis.
And the anxiety.
Oh my gosh,
The
right? And
anxiety
so
of it.
of like, I need to I need to be able to write enough that fills this whole page. And so what I do is as we're trying to practice, right? So part of the practice is doing and being able to allow myself a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? So what I have them do is I have them on that page, they're going to cut it in fours or fives, right? And so they're going to line it through. So what I want is 3 lines on that line paper. That's it. It's your prompt is the first line, the date, and you only have to fill out 2 of those lines. That's a sentence or two.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next, so each line is a day on that page. And so all of a sudden, I don't have to fill out 20 lines. I just have to come up with a line or 2. And the reality becomes the more you do it, right? The more you feel successful because you filled a page. And then it's like, well, I'm going to do 3 lines. I have a little bit more I want to kind of like accomplish. But if you don't, at the end of that week, right, you got 7, those pages start looking real, like you've really accomplished something. As opposed to going back and going like, that's just blank. I just put the date on there.
Yeah.
Right. And so those baby steps of the things that you need to practice in order to become better at shifting, and it's a shift. We don't want to take away your strengths and all those things that you do well. We're not trying to break you down into someone else. We're trying to be able to get you to expand and become better at who you already are.
Yeah. And I've done the journaling. How important is it? Because I journaled. Sometimes I don't go back to read it. And I'm sure like, it's like, all right, I journaled. You can make it a practice. But I know for someone like me, be like, all right, I checked the box. I journaled it. How important is it to actually go back and read it and resonate with it and see the progress?
Well, I think it's really important, but I think that more important is, why are you avoiding? And ask yourself, why are you avoiding going back? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of that you haven't made any progress? Are you afraid of, not liking what you wrote? Some people, it's about like, I hate the grammar. Right. I didn't say it right. How could I have, right? Like, just really analyze, what is it that you are avoiding? What is that? It's an emotional barrier. And so what is it? What am I afraid of? And really the question is, what am I avoiding today? Right? What am I feeling overwhelmed about today? What am I afraid of today? We want to be really, really specific, because your brain will answer the question. But if you are not specific and say today, it will tell you what you're afraid of your whole life.
Yep.
It will run with that question, right? If I ask my brain, if I say, why do I suck at diets? Oh my God, why can't I lose weight today? Like, why can't I lose weight? It will go like, well, girl, when you were just born, your mom overfed you. And just stuck and so it's like, I cannot have it be universal. I need to be specific. It needs to be today. I always end those questions or those journal or even affirmations, right? Affirmations are real dangerous sometimes, because you say like, I am all knowing today and I am I'm in abundance, and and then it's your brain's like, but are you?
Right.
Because you just went to McDonald's and spent all that money you didn't have. So I like to not make a statement. I like to ask a question, a positive question to my brain. Why will I be in abundance today? Why will I be successful today? Why will I feel great about myself today? Because the brain's like, oh, today, well, we woke up and it's a shiny day. We woke up. We already went on a walk. It just has to focus on today, right?
How important is it to train our mind to focus on the now and not the future?
So important. Very important. When we over focus on the future that we have not accomplished or have no control of it, it produces anxiety. When we over focus on our past and what we have no control of because it already happened, we produce depression. Today, I can accomplish. Today I have control of. This is it. I can control of what my next reaction is going to be today. And so it really keeps us from spiraling one way or the other.
That is so good. That I remember, and you're right. And it's so simple. It's so simple.
It doesn't have to be complicated.
You know, I had a conversation with an entrepreneur from my network, and she's highly successful, but she keeps moving the goalpost. So it was a conversation like, hey, you know, I was having a conversation with my homegirl, and I only made 10K, and I don't think I'm going to make the rest. And she goes, but it was only the 6th of the month. And then she took it back to, there was a time 2 years ago where we were sitting at, like, we were hoping we can just make 10K in a month.
Right.
She was like, now her friend made the 10K and was afraid she wasn't going to make more than 10K because now 10K wasn't enough for that month, even though it was the first week of the month. With that said, how important is it for women to still be in the now so we don't keep moving the goalposts to celebrate our wins?
Yeah. That very important, right? It's because, again, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't have control of it. That is someone who really probably struggles with anxiety and high performance, right? But also it's, you know, going to therapy and really analyzing of like, why do I not feel good enough? Like, what is it that I feel like I'm never going to be able to be good enough, Mom? Because, you know, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head on that
one. and be able to go like, oh my gosh, like I don't have to, right? I can celebrate my today win and still be ambitious. That doesn't mean that you're, you know, there's this real fear of conformity, as if conformity means that, or contentment means conformity. Those are two different situations. You can be content with today and still want to accomplish something tomorrow.
Yep.
But you get to celebrate today.
So the importance is really focusing on the now.
Staying in the now.
And asking those healthy questions.
Yes. Yes. Positive questions, right? Any woman, anybody listening right now, if you have a word of the year, if you have an affirmation that you tell yourself in the mirror every day, turn it into a positive question and end it with today. That is my little nugget.
We always appreciate Claudia's nuggets.
It will change your brain structure. It will create new neural pathways. That is the only way to do that, is to ask questions. Positive questions.
Yeah. What can you give the listeners if they can't think of a positive question? For those that are just like, all right, I'll put a list together of some positive questions. What are 2 or 3 positive questions that they can ask themselves today?
Why am I able to be happy today? Why am I satisfied with how my life is going to be today? Right? Why am I good enough today?
Why am I good enough today?
I mean, that one is so powerful.
Yeah. As you see, I repeated it because it was like, yep, I'll take that one. And then my mind is already going like, yeah, I'm going to be this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this.
Immediately, right? Our brain is just a computer. We're the one that attach, you know, judgment on whatever it is that we're thinking. But our brain is it's just Google. It's just if you ask it, it's always asking a question, right? Remember, it's always trying to protect us. It is primitive, primal. And so it's always going, is that safe? Are you sure you want to do that? We didn't like it last time. What do you do? It's always asking and trying to answer questions. And so it will go to a negative because it's trying to protect us. Always. Right? So don't do that. Because remember what happened? Like, are you sure you want to do that? Don't go that way. Don't go down that path. Right? It's instinctual. It's trying to protect us from dinosaurs. It doesn't know how to the difference, right? And so we have to train it to ask positive questions, because it will literally shift from our survival instinct to this creative brain that we have.
And it sounds like it's also going towards the past. I just say like, hey, because we are in that also survival mode. It's a matter of like right now. There's a quote. I was a guest on Musings and Modalities, and I had a quote that I have on my laptop, and I let go of the past. I no longer live there. Therefore, I have no past fears. What am I afraid of? Right. What am I afraid of now? Was the question. What am I afraid of now? And that worked. I need to read that more often, like daily, but it's right there on my laptop.
Right? Like I tell clients, like, get yourself a little sticky, put that question, right, on your mirror. Again, we want to stack behaviors with already things that we've already have mastery, right? And so if I put it on my mirror while I'm brushing my teeth or doing my skincare or whatever, and I'm looking at it and asking that question, you don't have to sit down. You don't have to journal it. I mean, sometimes it's like, I just can't do one more thing. I'm like, okay, put the sticker on your mirror when you're brushing your teeth and you're reading it.
Yeah.
And you're asking that question. Why am I good enough today?
Yeah. Or what am I afraid of today?
Yeah. And what am I afraid of today?
Lessons, because I do have my fears for the day. For the day. So we're not saying that you shouldn't have any fears. It could be like, all right, today, what is my fear today? Am I going to make my quota today? Right. Am I going to close the deal today?
Yep.
It's not a past like, oh, girl, you're not going to get that deal or whatever else like that. Or like, shit, I hope I make enough money by year end. I need to be making at least like 200K.
Yep.
But focusing on the day. So I think it's a healthy way of letting women know, like, yeah, you can have a fear, you can have a concern, but it's just for that day.
Right. And also that will develop why am I great with my budget? Right. So sometimes like, will I make the rent this month? Right. That's a fear. And then it's like, the question is, why am I so good with finances? Why am I great at keeping a budget today? And then your brain's going to go, oh, God, because, you go and coupon and you do this. And, and so it kind of like, here's the fear. And then here's the question that my brain, because it's files and files and files based on your experience that your brain is storing to answer whatever question you ask it. Right?
Silly question. Mm-hmm. How do we know it's our brain talking and not that toxic voice?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's going to be based on the question.
Got it.
And so that's why I want it to be a positive question.
Makes sense.
If you ask it a positive question, it is not coming from that toxic voice. The negative question is.
You're right. I just came to that realization. I'm going to practice that right now. It's just like
the positive question.
Yeah.
It is coming from your innermost, true, authentic self. It's there. The file of evidence of your authentic self lives in your brain, as well as the toxic negative voice. Which one do you want to tap into today?
Yeah.
You're in control of it.
That's a mic drop right there. That's a mic drop. Like, I just learned something new. 51 years old, be like, It was that simple, and I was asking
I
myself
know.
that question for decades.
I know. We
Yep.
live in, we live in the fear. We're trying to protect ourselves. And so, of course, we're going to focus on the negative. And so we have to train our brain on a daily basis, on an hourly basis to ask positive questions. And it will try to go like, no, we're afraid. We're trying to, remember? And it's like, nope. Which is why I say write it down, keep it in a post-it, keep it in your car, wherever you spend the most time that on your computer screen, you put a little thing on the side, have it there.
Right.
It's a post-it note. That's all it is.
Once again, you took something that a lot of women feel is a complex issue and really simplified it. And that's what these roundtable discussions are about. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I enjoy this so much.
Likewise. And I'm learning. And I'm sure everybody else is learning. So until next Friday.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Can't wait for it. You too.
You take care.
Bye.
Bye. If this conversation resonated with you, you're not alone. That's exactly why this space exists. Elevate Within is for the high-achieving women in the messy middle, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. The architecture of reinvention is an invitation to pause, to reflect, to heal, and to begin the process of unbecoming everything you were told you had to be, so you could become who you were always meant to be. Be sure to join us each Friday for our Architecture of Reinvention Roundtable discussions, where we continue these conversations and explore the deeper lessons, insights, tools, and reflections that emerge from each story. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. For Apple Podcast listeners, I would be grateful if you leave a rating or review. It helps reach more women who may need this conversation right now. And if you'd like to go deeper, join us on Substack at Elevate Within. There, you'll find weekly essays and honest conversations about burnout, grief, reinvention, resilience, healing, and the messy middle. Free subscribers receive full access to all public content, while paid subscribers receive bonus essays, early access to upcoming series, behind-the-scenes recording, and opportunities to engage directly with the community. If you know of a woman who needs to hear this conversation today, please share it with her. You can find me on LinkedIn under Sandra Davis, on Substack at Elevate Within, and if you're in need of fractional COO work or would like to book a discovery call on how I can help, you can reach out to me at elevateopsadvisory.com. You'll find all those links in the show notes. Until next time, keep elevating personally, professionally, and from within.